Hello and welcome back to the channel. Here's a brand new video from CM Wizard. It's been a while, but I wanted to share my latest game with you guys. And actually I decided to, I think this is maybe my, 100th time playing with Porto. I've always loved playing in the Portuguese league, also with different teams like Guamares. But I decided to give it one more shot, and this time with a different approach. Not really to start off with. I have been playing for some years now. You can see like it's 2015 now. So for some years, and it has been very successful. If we look at the history, let's go to the league. Right now, I'm number one. Haven't lost yet. I have some crazy seasons, and as you can see, since I started the game, I've actually won each year. Some easy years and some quite hard years actually. So when I started the game, my first approach was more or less to sign some of the obvious players. I know some think this is boring and stuff like that, but I think it makes total sense. More or less all players that I think you should buy when you start. If you think it's funny, if you don't think it's funny, please don't. But I love a lot of these guys, and eventually I'm selling them along the way. But to get a good start, it's always good to have some great and also some very cheap players. When you start with Porto, you actually have a lot of players that you can sell. So normally I would sell for maybe double the amount that I'm buying. So that is actually a very easy way to get started in a good way with Porto. Of course, it's also a top three club in Portugal when you start. So you have Benfica and you have Sporting Lisbon and then Porto. But I think this has been going very well right now, and this is actually why I decided to do the video. Also because I think it's very cool that I've actually won each year, and we can also check Champions League because I haven't really owned that totally yet. I've won 2 times, but been in the final 5 times. So that's actually okay. As you can see, we had like 2007 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a row being in the final. That was pretty fun. It's not fun losing 3 finals, but that's how it is. And then last year I didn't attend the final. I have changed a little bit what I'm looking for right now, and I think for many players when they play this incredible game, they stop at some point because they think that it's not funny with known players not being around anymore. But I actually love it, and I think it's great that you can hire some of them as coaches and whatever scouts and whatever you need. So as you see right now, I have Isaac, who was a great player for me. He's only 36 years old. He's actually the coach now, and he's not like the best coach, but it feels right to have him in the squad because he have been performing so well. I have Luis Figo as an assistant coach, which is like a must. This was my favorite player when I grew up. So very excited having him in. I don't know how much this is actually means to the game, but at least from my point of view, it's nostalgic, and also like it's fun to see a lot of these players around. Alan Shearer, legend. Patrick Vieira, also to Madeira. He's still playing a little bit. Still actually great stats, but I think it's cool to create these kind of legends like TC Galco. Of course, I want to keep him also. He has been great at the club. So right now I'm trying to have a lot of young players. I want to sign them around, 17 or 18 years old, and then I want to keep them in the squad. Maybe they don't start, but at one point they are going to. But at least I'm going to have them as substitutes, and then I'm going to try to somehow put them in the squad. I think right now actually it's not, my squad is not that young anymore, but a lot of these players has been in the club for many years. So maybe since they were like 17 or 18 years old, if you can manage to create a squad like I think I'm about to do with Porto right now, is like bring in a lot of young players, but you can't run like 11 young players at once. But try to fit them in along the way, and then eventually they will take over. And if you have like this squad with a lot of players being in the club for 4 or 5 years, you can go and win the Champions League and the league each year. And then you just need to remember to sign some young players. I think the coolest thing you can do is actually if there's a young player already within your youth team. But that's hard to control. Sometimes you get lucky and there's a young player you can use. But there's a lot of these players that I bought when they were younger. Some of them were very expensive. This player was from Barcelona 3 years ago, so he was 18. He has been great. He actually did 21 goals as a defensive midfielder. That was crazy in the first season I used him. What I also would love to do, because I think this is actually the fun part, is to sign Portuguese players. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is great. I would love to have more, but I think it's very cool to see how many national players you can sign. Here's actually a very good player also. So I know this is the Portuguese national team. As you see, I have 6 players in the squad, and if you check the under 21 years, I have 2 players right now, which is not that many, I think. And how about the backup squad? Not right now. Okay, so what I try to do is, this player has been great. He's 28 now. He's been at my club for many years. But what I would love to do is, I monitor this team all the time. I have scouts looking at players all the time. I also, of course, monitor upcoming opponents in the league. I'm looking out on the other teams just to make sure if they have any young players that I sign them early on because they are cheap. But it's also it's more like, it feels more like a win if you can sign them early and then create like a superstar, and eventually you could sell them and earn a lot of money if you want to, or you can keep them for 15 years, and that's also a good story. But this is my squad right now, so as you see, there's not many known players, like Calgo, of course, but he's 32 now. But this is actually pretty cool, and I think I'm going to play this game for a lot of years, and I will share some results. My goal right now is to include more Portuguese players and also sign some young players going along the way. But then, of course, I want to continue winning the Portuguese league. But I also want to perform a little bit better with the Champions Cup, because I'm not that satisfied with 2 wins in all these years. But on the other hand, I think it's great being in the final for 5 years. But this needs to improve, and I would love to have some, like 3 or 4 wins in a row. I think the squad is performing very well right now. I think the size is good. I think there's a good mix of different ages and stuff like that. But there's still room for improvement. And I also needed to find a new goalkeeper at some point. As you see, I bought him very cheap from Liverpool when he wasn't that old, and decided to try to bench him. And then when Kiotis was a bit old, I decided to sell him, and then from one season to another, I actually included him, and he has been very good, as you see from some of these seasons. I was a little bit lucky. I think his stats was great. I don't know who he is, but I was under the impression that I needed to bring him to the squad and include him. So 28 years old, a lot of seasons going. But that was it. So I just wanted to share what I'm playing with right now. I think it's pretty fun when you reach a point and some of all the old players are started to leave actually. And even though sometimes it feels a little bit sad because you can't really sign your legends like Ronaldinho and players like that. It's also pretty fun to take on the challenge to sign players you don't know, to scout, to create these youth teams and stuff like that. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, and I will make sure to do more videos. Thank you for watching.